Are we live?
We're live.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan. I'm with Active Healing Center, just right down the road. A lot of familiar faces, but today we're going to be talking about active aging in place. I don't love that term, but that's the term that people seem to know. It's just about how to stay living in your home, some things to think about. Sometimes we have people in our family that are getting older. Sometimes it's us that are getting older, and we're like, I don't want to have to go to a nursing home. I don't want them to go to a nursing home. I want to be independent and stay at home. So that's what we're talking about today. And at the end, we'll have time for questions. You guys all have this little handout, and I'll be posting that online too. There's a lot of references and resources in the back. They're all links, which is kind of hard when it's on paper. So maybe what I'll do is put a little sheet if anybody wants me to email you that. So then on your computer you just go click rather than having to type in the whole HTTP, www, stuff like that too. So, but I put some resources in there. But let's just jump right into it. I'm just gonna say the main thing that I hope everybody can hear or that makes sense to people, if nothing else. Yes, I'm going to go through like grab bars and safety and all that stuff, but I'm also going to just sort of put out there, if there's one thing that I think about as a physical therapist in the 30 years I've been helping people. I've worked in hospitals and nursing homes, and I've done home health and done the safety evals inside the house. Like, that's down here, nursing homes and wheelchairs and all the things that we probably don't prefer are down here. And, you know, you guys are all walking in here and independent. We're all over here. If there's one thing, it's that strength and balance are the things that keep us in our home. And so that's so simple. And it sounds like, yeah, obviously. But strength and balance are things that you can improve. So doesn't need to be physical therapy. And of course, yeah, I'm there. That's what I do. If people are having problems, it's not just pain. If people are having problems with their strength, then that's what we help them to do. But just on your own, doing things like stand-up sit-downs, doing things like practicing at the kitchen sink, some little balance things, and keeping moving is the thing that, you know, this is a complicated topic because, you know, sometimes people do have cognitive issues. And there's other stuff that can keep us from being independent in the home, but for the majority of people, just because we're getting older doesn't mean we have to go down these scary routes to nursing homes and assisted living and things like that. Sometimes those are good things, but it's that if we stay strong and balanced and active in our movements, which means we have to keep moving, then a lot of times some of these things can be avoided. So, so let's just jump right into it. So, most people want to stay at home. I think everybody can agree on that. Like, I know I do. I don't want to have to go into those places. And I'm going to define sort of some of the alternatives to staying in your home. But they did a study. 87% of people 65 plus say they want to stay in their homes. But as you know, like 45% of all statistics are made up on the spot. So, but anyway, someone saw that. So 87%. So, you know, the vast majority of us want to stay at home. But, you know, sometimes there are different situations where, you know, I'm lonely. My friends aren't here, you know, whatever. There's other circumstances we're going into. One of these other places could be good, but we'll focus mostly today on, you know, the risk factors for having to not being able to stay in the home and what to do to optimize that. Does that make sense? I mean, that's the thing we should focus on. Yes? Okay. Just want to make sure. And then if there's other things to talk about, we can too. And yeah, so let's just jump right into it. So another thing to think about is sort of like the risk factors. So you have that on your little handout. So we already talked about, to me, one of the big ones is the mobility. So can I get into my house? So there we're starting to talk about entry stairs or elevation changes or steepness of terrain. We're starting to talk about rails to entry rail to get in there. Once I'm in my house, can I get around? So now we're starting to talk about, you know, is this a single living or 2 stories? And so that's where that leg strength comes in. So That's one of those places to definitely focus on. If I'm thinking, I don't know if I can make it into my house. I don't know if I can live in a 2-story home anymore. Because like even in my 30s, since I've been a PT since I was like 22, I've moved into homes. I'm like, this got 3 stories. Well, I have to have a total knee replacement. This is going to be really hard. And I'm like, 30 years old. But it is something to think about. That said, even if I had to get a total knee replacement, even if I had an issue that was challenging, a lot of times we can temporarily live on the base floor. And so that's something when we're thinking about home situations, can I live on the base floor temporarily and then kind of pull that off? Also, there's a really good chance that I'm going to make it through that. So it's not just because I'm getting older, I won't be able to go upstairs. If we keep strong, then we'll be able to. And there's other issues with mobility. Sometimes there's inner ear stuff and, the balance gets wonky. But mobility challenges are, as a physical therapist, that's always the main one that I think of. Having the space, clear enough. So sometimes, so I'm the cleanser, I'm the purger in my relationship in my family, meaning that my wife and son tend to be more on the hoarding side of things, in my humble opinion. And sorry, babe. And but on the other end of the spectrum, like we want to make sure that things are clear and that there's, even like where we're putting our shoes, like it's nighttime and I've got my slippers or my shoes. Am I putting those down on the floor? And it's going to be a tripping hazard. Just little things like that. So how we're moving around within the house is definitely there. So other risk factors, we've all run across this in family and friends, is cognition issues and dementia and memory challenges, and there's just a lot of, that's a deep one, but there's lots of issues there with safety and leaving the stove on. Although I do that apparently at home. My son and wife complain that I walk out, and I've done it. I've left the single burner on low, didn't see it, so happens to the best of us. Chronic health conditions, so we all know those issues that need lots of specialty care. That's a tough one. If things start to get too complicated, now we've got to have the nurses come in and have home health and the oxygen and the special things and dialysis and so forth. So when we start getting really complicated with our medicines and medical status, that starts to put us at risk. This one it was interesting. Feeling isolated or lonely came up as a risk factor for not being able to stay in your home. And we deal with a lot of, so interestingly enough, physical therapy, we are licensed to talk to people not only about physical healing, but also the mental side of things. And we really see a big issue when we're starting to talk about depression. And that's just one flavor of, mental challenge. But people that have depression, we have to meet them where they are, even when we're thinking about like giving them home exercises. When you're here in your mood and your physiology because of your mental status, you're not going to have energy to do my 127 exercises that I give you. So you need to meet with them where they are. But the implication is that when my mood and my mental state is low, my physical state is going to be low, and my physical desire to get up and take a shower and get dressed and go do things and go meet with people, it's that negative self-fulfilling prophecy. So I don't know, work on your self-care, or if you're talking about loved ones, help them to get out and get more social. And the fact that we're all here in a senior center is a really good sign. So we're getting out and about, and we maybe even showered today. And then the other one is just, the last one on there is trouble maintaining basic hygiene. That just kind of has to go with all of those. That could be from the mood challenge, the feeling down, or it could be from a physical things. I don't want to spend a lot of this. You guys probably already know this, maybe even better than I do. But there's just some different terms when we're talking about alternatives to aging in place. It's not all just nursing homes. So some of the phrases that you'll hear are independent living, and then assisted living, and memory care, and nursing home care. So to me, when I think from a physical therapy standpoint, independent living is just like, it's almost like going on a cruise. Like No, it's not quite it because they make all the food for you. It's just kind of like a senior apartment. Like there's nothing really helping you. I can do everything. I'm cooking all my food. I'm getting it out on my own. But I'm surrounded by others of like mind, age, and situations. So it's just basically like a dorm room for seniors is the way I see that. So that's independent living. And that can be really cool. I've had a lot of people, sell their homes and move into that situation just because of a lot of the things we talked about. It was easier to move around. It was, single story, or there was elevators, and they were surrounded by the people, so it was social. It was smaller, so they didn't have to care for as much. There wasn't a yard, all those things. Independent living. Assisted living is like, I need a little bit of help. And that could range. In some of these places, they have different tiers where it's just like, okay, well, your independent living section now, you're awesome, and then okay, you fell and you hurt something, you broke something. Okay, now you need a little help. Okay, well, we're going to cook some meals for you. Da 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 da. Memory care, and that one is that's I'm not super familiar with this one, but I'm just thinking that to me, memory care could kind of mean two things. I feel like there's something called, what's the specific term? Because this was a new one for me too, just because it's not in my everyday, but it's respite care. So we'll come back to that, but respite care isn't a living situation. It's like a daycare. It sounds bad, but it's like a daycare. It's like I've got my dad, and he's having some challenges, but I'm the caregiver and I'm overwhelmed. I need to go to respite care with him and drop him off for a couple hours to do what I need to do. But yeah, sometimes people need to go into some kind of assisted living situation with the Alzheimer's, dementia, etc. Big concern, tough one. Nursing home care, and so this is more. There's different levels of nursing home care, but this is really where you just, they're not able to do their daily support. They're not able to cook, and they're not really able to, take care of much, if anything, and they're just needing a lot of help. And again, there's different levels. So I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time. The mood in the room just went like this as soon as I mentioned that. So we'll just skip right over that one. But sometimes it's just a temporary thing. A lot of times you'll hear that SNF for skilled nursing facility. And people have to go there. You had a total knee replacement, but you live in 3 stories and you have some other medical stuff. As soon as they discharge you in like a day after your knee replacement, some people need to go get some rehab and have a live-in rehab physical therapy 2 times a day in a skilled nursing facility too. So that happens. How to avoid all this stuff? Again, the drum I keep wanting to beat is it doesn't have to be complicated exercise, but if you feel yourself getting weak or off balance, work on it. Come take a yoga class. Do the chair senior aerobics class. Do lots of walking. Do stand-up sit-downs. Yes, you can see physical therapy too if you need some help, but keep moving. That's the big one. And there's a big long list of, well, actually this one's not that long. There's a little list of, talking about the social, maintaining the relationships, getting out. Nature is an amazing thing to stimulate some good vibes and also physicality, whatever that means for you. Even if you don't have a dog, just going to the dog park and watching dogs. We've got a service dog here with us today, and it's just so awesome to feed off that energy. Thank you. Making new friends. Once you figure that out, let me know, because I'm kind of an introvert. This is great. So make new friends. So come up with something that you want to talk about at the senior center and do a presentation. Why not? This isn't interesting for me. I've been thinking about this one for myself lately. Keep doing your favorite hobbies. So once we stop something, say it's a physical hobby, say it's golf, or say it's lawn bowling, I'm just making things up, even sewing, especially you quilters, it's very physical. And once you stop doing something, it's not that you can't resume it again, but once you stop doing something, it's a lot harder to start it right back up from zero than it would have been if you would have kind of kept in with it a little bit. So I'm just encouraging you, if you have hobbies that you like, maybe even if you've even stopped them for a while, get back in with it a little bit. Or don't do cold turkey, but just do it a little bit less if you need to, but try to keep doing it as much as you can. And there's so many benefits of those hobbies because I'm talking about physicality, I'm talking about socialization, and just the research shows that those two things, physical movement and socialization, as complicated as most of those can be, it's like, it can be simple. Do stuff with people. There we go. Yeah. And then I had some little suggestions for when we think about exercise. Sometimes that's a dirty word because it's just burdened. It's like we think about PE class in high school and just sweating and being short of breath and muscles burning, and that's what we think of with exercise. But I think of exercise as just, because I get to see the reality of what works when I give people exercises. When I was younger, it was like, I probably still do it sometimes. I try not to. It's like, here's all this stuff, and it's just, sometimes it's too much, or it's takes too long, and then they don't do it. And so we have to meet people where they are. So wherever you are, there's going to be a duration and an intensity that both your brain likes and that your body likes. And for some people, it's going to be a lot of stuff. Like, oh my gosh, I was the college athlete and I've continued to move this whole time and I'm in the Senior Olympics. Okay, great, good job. But that's not most of the people that I encounter. It's what's better for them is sometimes, yeah, it's an exercise class. Sometimes it's a yoga class. Sometimes it's going on a stationary bike at home. If that's it, great, keep doing that. But for some people, it's like, no, I just need a little exercise, what I call a snack. And so it's like, while I'm waiting for the microwave to ding, I do some little baby squats. And you know what? If I just did 5 little baby squats while I was waiting for the microwave to ding, that's more muscle activity, that's more blood flow, that's more brain muscle connection, and it adds up. We don't have to do big, huge workouts. It adds up. Whatever you did during that day, whatever you did during that week, if you did 5 minutes of walking a day times 7, oh gosh, math, 35 minutes in that week. So you just did the same as if someone did one time of 35 minutes and was sweaty and painful, but you did it in a way that worked for you. So bingo, that's the way to go. Little snacks. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You can go on, YouTube and online and see so many complicated ways of doing things. It doesn't need to be like that. Literally, I know I probably mention this every single class, but whether it's the strengthening over 60 or the balance class, whatever, stand up, sit downs. This is one of my favoriteest things. And if you need to use your hands, if you look like this with no hands, go ahead and use your hands. Make it smooth. And that is me on some mornings. And we do some of these. Look, muscles, short of breath, lose your water. Whee! So that's a way to get strong. I don't know if you do 3. Like I had one gal, I think I was going to do a presentation here, and so I think I put out an email ahead of time. And one of the little quick tips was stand up, sit downs. But just do as many as you can without it feeling like a strain. But just do something. And so this one gal was like, okay. And so she did 3 reps. She went up and down 3 times. Stand up, sit down 3 times. And I guess she had a week before, so she did that every day. And at the end of the week, she came to the presentation like, oh my gosh, I've been doing those stand up, sit downs. And it's not that she was up to, 50 of them or something. But what she told me is she's like, I can do 7 of them now. And my legs feel stronger. And my knees don't hurt as much when I'm doing them. Because she started putting some WD-40 and some, breaking some of the rust loose and getting her body moving. So it can be as simple as that. I don't know about you guys, but I make things really complicated. I do spreadsheets and I research all this stuff. As long as we just keep moving and just, if we can feel what it might be a little challenging, but if we can feel and do something that kind of feels good. Some people hate the stationary bike. I'm never going to tell them to go buy a stationary bike or hate the treadmill. Do something you like to do, even if it's just a little bit of movement while you're waiting for the microwave to beep or whatever it is. Yeah, and get some help. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't even know how to begin, you can talk to us and we'll probably even be able to do it over the phone, or you can get, traditional physical therapy. That's easy too. Medicare pays for it. You just get a doctor's order, but it's easy. I'm not going to go over this whole list of all the modifications that you can make. So this is where we're talking about grab bars and things. Off the top of my head, when I go into a house, I don't do this anymore, but when I went into a house to do a safety assessment, you guys probably already know what I'm going to say. Throw out all the throw rugs, right? That's like everybody's nodding their head. Just get rid of them. You don't know how many people I've treated for little throw rugs. Like, oh, but there's a stain on my carpet. Like, not worth it. Just doesn't matter. They do, however, have now some rubber and some foam ones with beveled edges. You guys know what I'm talking about, like in the kitchen usually. Like I have one under my kitchen sink. It's kind of foam and it's smooth. It's not like a nice carpet. It's smooth and it's water protective, but it's a cushion. So at least you can get a cushion that is not the floor, and it won't make you fall. So we just don't want anything bacon shaped. We don't want any little ridges on there that catch a toe. That's the issue, is the edges pulling up. So if you've got something really low profile that's also a rug that probably has a rubber border on it, that could be okay in the house. But anything that is basically a throw rug that's not what I just described, gotta go. There is a link in the back. I did a little research on what the best type of grab bars are, and we all know where those need to go. It's like next to the toilet. I mean, you kind of figure it out, like where are you struggling, but by the toilet, sometimes if there's like a single step, like a little transition, like from the den up into the hallway, like a single little grab bar. But the bathroom in the shower is the trickiest one. And you used to have to really drill into the tile, which is kind of a commitment. And so you can still totally do that, but there's a link in there. You can get them at Home Depot. They don't look cheap. But they have a new type of adhesive that if and when you're done, so they stay better than the suction cup ones. I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's a thing. So you can buy a thing where like I could get it, and if this wall were smooth, I'd put it on there and I'd go flip, and it's a solid grab bar. So that's really great for convenience, but for long-term strength, probably not so good. The thing I'm trying to talk about is just that they have one that is now an adhesive one that's just as strong as the drill into the studs one. So hope that makes sense, and that is in the back. Other things to think about is, we've got the rugs, we've got the grab bars. There's all kinds of stuff in here. One that I hear a lot about, I haven't heard too many people actually hurting themselves, but it just ends up being a pain in the rear, is the tall bed thing. So it's hard to figure out because sometimes the foam and then the pillow top and then the box spring and then there's also the legs, and then like I'm 6'3", but I've seen people's houses where it's I had to kind of jump up on there a little bit. So it's worth it to modify that. So I don't know what that's going to mean. Is it getting rid of the frame and then just putting the box spring right on the floor? But what was it getting your son-in-law to get his Sawzall out and cut down the metal on there and put a little plastic thing underneath it? I don't know. It's possible, but it may not be. And this is like the rugs, and I think this one we're starting to talk about the appearance of things and how nice it looks, and that's always going to take second fiddle to safety and all these things. I know, but there's different ways of doing it. So there's all kinds of good things in here. I just thought I just kept this in here and this isn't in any specific order, but it's having the like a second stair rail. So if you feel like, man, I could really use both hands on these stairs, that would be good. It's the shower seat or the curbless shower, rather than a step-in tub, getting some kind of straight shot in there. And some of these cost a bunch of money and some of them are free. So widening doorways, that was one. That's usually only if you need to get a wheelchair through, or maybe a walker. Another one that I will mention is using assistive devices. So canes and walkers, people don't like them because it makes us look old. I'm an old man walking with my cane or with a walker, and it's going to make me hunched over. But the way I see those is that they're just tools. They're just tools. It's a piece of thing, just like a hammer is a tool. It's a tool. Your car is a tool. It gets you from A to B. Well, when we're walking around, if I feel kind of sketchy, walking, balance, strength, but when I have a cane in my hand, oh, I feel a little bit better, I probably should be using that. And it can be a temporary thing. If you're doing your exercises and you're doing you're strengthening, you're balancing, and then, yeah, I gotta use this cane, it might be temporary while you're building that strength. But my recommendation is if you feel, like you kind of feel, you will know this feeling, I feel a little uneasy when I don't have that device, whether it's a walker or a cane or whatever, probably a good idea to use it. And then work on the thing that's challenging you, whether it's the pain that you're having or the strength or the balance issue, and then hopefully you can ditch it eventually. That's what we want. There was a lot of stuff on tech for seniors, and it was things like using Alexa for different things to mess with your temperature control, and there was even this. Some of them seemed a little bit invasive and at the same time kind of cool. So I'll just share one of them with you just to let you know that it exists. And if you're interested in it, ask me because I don't remember exactly the brand, but it was a specific thing and it looked like a little tablet. But what it was is it was for the adult kids to help monitor their parents. And it was basically like, the doorbells that you can see and you can watch it on your smartphone. It was like that. It was basically like a spying device for your kids to look at the elder.
Nanny cam.
Yeah, nanny cam. It was like a nanny cam, but it was something where they could interact and you could actually have conversations, and so it was like a little bit like a Zoom thing. So anyway, there are some technological things that can help with this. Another thing that I'll say is we're talking about socialization, and it doesn't always have to be in person. So I have a client who recently moved out of the area, and they're a sweetheart, and they're continuing to, they're on Facebook, and they're Facebook messaging, us, and I see them popping up in other places, and even though they're miles and miles away, they're staying really, really connected, and they're like out in the boonies, like feeding the deer now. And I think that's a beautiful thing, but compared to where they were here, because they used to come here for the meetings too, they're totally isolated. And it's now they're just their family. They're living in a house with their family rather than alone. And as we've probably heard, that can be a challenging step, because even though there's family, that's a whole different dynamic. And as I say with my family, we put the fun in dysfunction. Yeah, and then there's a whole so I've got a big list. The last thing on here is just services that can help us with aging in place. Can I ask you guys, is aging in place, is that is there a better term for it? Because here, I don't want to age. I would rather have it be a more positive word than aging, or is that just neutral? Who knows?
I'm okay with it, but I was thinking self-sufficiency.
Yeah,
Training.
Self-sufficiency, yeah. Yeah, staying in home awesomely or something. Yeah, something different. But okay, just checking. So anyway, so we've got Central Coast Commission for Senior Services. That seemed like a good one. I put the phone number on there. There's a respite care. One on there, and that's wellspouse.org. We already talked about that. That's for if you're the caregiver and you're burnt and you're burnt out and you need to take your loved one who's requiring some help in for a period of time. And hopefully it's an awesome time for them too, but you have to, when you're the caregiver, you've all heard this, you have to take care of yourself first, so to have enough energy before you can give to someone else. It's the whole, whatever, the analogy of the air mask in the airplane.
You don't regular deposits to your energy bank.
Yeah, there you go. Energy deposits to your energy bank. Couldn't say it better. And along with that, there's a personal assistant service one. That one's a little bit random. Check it out. I just thought it was kind of cool. There were people that were signing up to do various tasks, and some of them were more babysittery, like literally, like I want to take care of children, and some of them were I'm a licensed elder care provider and everything in between. Some of them were just like groceries and things like that. Home health care. I have a good contact at the Central Coast Home Health. I forgot to write his phone number in there, so I'm not going to do that on YouTube, but if you guys want that number, just in case that comes up. His name is Alan, and he's like the community liaison, and he's an amazing guy, and he's just really enthusiastic about helping people, and he knows all about what his home health can help with. So if it's for you or an upcoming surgery or a family member, anyway, come and get me afterwards and I'll give you his number. But yeah, Central Coast Home Health, and I don't have any affiliation with him. He's just a good guy. He's helped lots of people. So anyway, get help. Lawn care, that's when I'm always trying to talk people into getting someone to mow their lawn. If you love mowing the lawn and it's just your thing and it's just your joy of life and you'd be miserable without mowing your lawn, then great. Hopefully you keep doing that. But if it's, if you're dealing with back pain and it's dragging you down, like, let's get someone to help do that, and then also scrub bathrooms and toilets. Please, please, please. Those are the two ones. Yeah, those are the two ones. Since now this maybe is neither here nor there, but us personally, we've been fortunate enough during this whole COVID thing to use Instacart a bunch, and I love it, and I'm addicted to it, and I'll probably still keep using it forever. I guess it costs more money, but if I just don't look at it too closely, I think it's fine. But I don't think it's that much more. So, like, if it's a huge deal, because sometimes people we're so stuck in our ways, like, I have to be the one that goes out and does this shopping. No one can do it like I can. Sometimes if that's like an energy deficit, if that's not giving us an energy boost, it's really dragging us down, we'd rather use it for something else. Having someone do our groceries for us would be great. Food delivery, I put a link in there. It was a review of the cheapest ones. I tend to be kind of cheap, so I thought that was kind of cool. And we use, I can't remember which one it is, DoorDash or Grubhub. I think we use DoorDash. And whatever, they charge a little extra, but sometimes same thing. It's worth it. The last two things, there's like an overview research article, and it was an NIH, a National Institute of Health resource guide on there. And I'll put a bunch of these links in that video too. And then the last one is that Grab Bar one. And again, I am not affiliated with the Grab Bar either, but there's a whole how-to article. I think it was the Washington Post. It's kind of new technology, this adhesive on there. So anyway, if there's a resource on there, if you're trying to figure out how to do it. And you have the perfect timing because I am done. Yes?
I just wanted to say that I work I volunteer in the office.
Okay.
I volunteer in the office on Wednesdays, and we've been getting a lot of people calling. And so I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention that there is a lunch program. It is totally free.
Ooh, yes.
Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays here, but Monday through Friday at the Muscle Center and in Lompoc. There might even be two in Lompoc, I'm not sure.
And are those ones at the other places in Lompoc and the Muscle Center that you go to, just like here?
Correct.
Like you go to them? Because there's
Well, I don't go to them, I'm saying they're available.
No, that one can go to, yes.
Yes. So it's any adult age 60 years or older.
That's amazing.
That they serve a very nice lunch. It's a different menu choice each day.
Another one too that I forgot to mention is the Meals on Wheels. So I don't know how one qualifies for that, but I think it's pretty. Yeah. I think it's pretty liberal, and so yeah. So I love this idea better of physically coming if one is able, but temporarily or permanently if someone doesn't have the mobility, you can get fed at home with Meals on Wheels. Another one is is Smooth Transportation. It's $4. It's $4 round trip, so it's 2 and 2. So that's another thing. Just to get around, sometimes you'll need a ride.
It's cheaper than buying your own gas.
It's cheaper than buying your own gas. So many resources. Yes.
Going to your facility, Active Healing Center, and that requires a doctor's order for Medicare to pay for.
Yes.
How many sessions does Medicare pay?
It's a gray area, but and don't hold me to this exact thing. I'm going to say 27, 28. It depends. If someone is like, for example, really had a stroke or has Parkinson's or has it doesn't have to be quite as severe as that, but has something where we're like, wow, we're helping this person. They made the progress, like they went from cane to now they're not walking with any device, but they're still at fall risk. We can put them on what's called a skilled maintenance program, and they can go a little bit longer. So that's why it's a gray area, but it's usually plenty. It's usually 28 is a lot. Like, you don't want to have to come see me for 28 visits, but some people do.
And is that once a week or it varies?
Good question. So it depends. So the doctor is going to probably order something, and so we try to respect that as much as we can. But we also want to extend it out. So if it's something that we think is going to go longer, my average is 2 times a week, and then we'll usually taper down. In the past, when there weren't such big restrictions with Medicare, when the insurance companies weren't basically telling everybody what to do as much, we would see people 3 times a week. People got a lot better at 3 times a week. But we don't want to use up all the, so we balance it out. But 2 times a week is generally how it goes. Yeah. The first visit you come in, it's an evaluation. We do a little bit of treatment. But the big thing that we help people do is just, if nothing else, allay the fears and the concerns about what's wrong. Is it reversible? Is this something I can work with? And then how to do it and who the best team is to do it.
And beyond that, your facility, do you have like a monthly charge if you just wanted to pay for it? Like say 3 times a week or 2 times a week?
Yeah, so we do, if someone's coming in for physical therapy, we've kind of reached this point where we're like, Medicare's not going to cover any more of this, but you still want to interact with us. We do have wellness programs, and I would just have to talk to you individually about that. You would have to tell me you want to do that. Medicare rules, it's a federal agency. You have to be careful about how we proceed with that. But we have, depending on what you want, different cash rates for that. It's not a monthly thing, but it's a per visit thing. And so.
And then do you have the moving treadmill and the bikes and?
Yeah. So kind of. So our office is pretty low tech. And that's on purpose. We have a stationary bike, we have weights, we have bands, but we don't have big machines. In fact, I actually bought the URL, like the website name, wearenotagym.com, because big shiny equipment in physical therapy land is for when you don't have enough time to spend with your patients. Because you and I want to just get strong, and we want to get strong with our body. We can do everything we need to do with our body weight, and we don't need the equipment. The equipment's great and it's good. I use the equipment when I go to the gym, but it's because it's convenient and I don't really have to think about it. But if I'm really trying to solve a problem, you need eyeballs on you, moving in just the right way, at just the right intensity on that particular day. And so we want to not just throw you on a piece of machinery to have you do that. And so maybe the follow-up question is like, no, we don't really have like a gym membership or something. Because sometimes the bigger places have like, you can keep coming in after your therapy and just, do on the treadmill. We don't do that because we're really focused. We're smaller and we're just focused on one-on-one care, taking interest and being present in
That's what I was
places.
going to ask you, if you're more one-on-one. I've had physical therapy
Yes.
where they first show you the exercises to do and what machines to use, and then you're kind of on your
Yeah,
own.
they just
doing
send
it
you
by
out.
yourself.
Yeah, a lot of, wow, everybody's nodding their head, yes.
Close to see if they're doing it.
Yes. So we are not more one-on-one, we are exclusively one-on-one, and we only have licensed professionals. We don't use techs or aides. We don't use, you're not going to see, whatever. You're not going to see name the young person name. I don't want to offend anybody who's on their phone texting their significant other while they're supposed to be watching you. No, so it's one-on-one the whole time. We have 3 little peaceful rooms that overlook a meadow, and we do a lot of our treatment in that private area. And then we have another little open area that is more like a yoga studio than anything, I think. And but it's completely curated to exactly the problem, solving the problem that you have, and treating you as the human that you are, not the number that builds a business. So we'll call that good. And if anybody wants me to email that, or anybody wants Alan, the home health guy's phone number, hit me up, and I'll get your email and I'll send it to you. So thanks again, you guys. Appreciate it.